The dollar isn't just money. It's a quiet ruler, invisible yet absolute. It moves faster than armies, it shapes economies without anyone noticing, and most of the world obeys it because it has no choice. Every day, trillions of dollars shift across borders. Trade, debt, aid, investment. The numbers are staggering, yet for most people, it's just paper or numbers on a screen. What if I told you that this simple green note controls more than your wallet, more than your country, and maybe even more than you realize about global power itself? It wasn't always like this. The dollar became dominant only in the last century, after wars, crises, and clever financial engineering. Before World War II, the British pound held the crown. London was the hub. Money flowed through its streets like water. But the war changed everything. Britain was drained. America emerged rich, stable, and ready to impose a new order. In 1944, world leaders met in Bretton Woods. They agreed the dollar would anchor the global financial system. Every other currency would peg to it, and the dollar itself would link to gold. Simple, elegant, powerful. It meant the United States could influence global trade with a single policy decision. Fast forward to 1971, the gold link broke. Nixon closed the gold window. No more gold for dollars. Suddenly, the dollar floated freely. Many predicted chaos, inflation, collapse, yet surprisingly, it strengthened. Why? Because the world depended on it. Oil, commodities, loans, all priced in dollars. Even without gold, everyone needed it. This is where the hidden control begins. Think about it. If every major trade runs on dollars and every debt payment asks for dollars, then controlling dollars is controlling the world. A country wants to trade, they need dollars. They want to borrow, dollars. They want to invest internationally, dollars. You don't see armies enforcing this. You see invoices, contracts, and bank statements, but it's just as binding. The math behind this is brutal. The U.S. can run deficits indefinitely, borrow trillions, and still hold the world's trust. Why? Because every country effectively buys dollars to stay in the game. In 2023, foreign governments held over $8 trillion in U.S. debt. That's right, $8 trillion. That is leverage, total leverage. The U.S. owes the world money, yet the world depends on the U.S. economy to be stable. It's like lending someone your car and trusting them to never drive off a cliff. Here's the irony. The dollar's dominance creates vulnerability for everyone, including America. When crises hit, like in 2008, the entire globe trembles. Yet because the dollar is central, the U.S. can intervene, print money, and absorb shocks faster than others. That's why it remains at the top. Power and safety, hand in hand. But the system is not without absurdity. Picture this, a small country, billions in debt, struggling to feed its people. Their trade depends on dollars. Every fluctuation of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rates can mean hunger or recession thousands of miles away. Decisions made in Washington ripple silently across continents, yet most people think their fate is local, domestic. It isn't. Not anymore. Even oil plays a part. Since the 1970s, oil trades almost exclusively in dollars. Buy oil, pay dollars. Sell oil, accept dollars. Countries that tried to circumvent this system, like Iraq or Libya, faced pressure, sanctions, even military action. Dollars became a geopolitical weapon, not visible on a map, but lethal in impact. So how does it feel to be caught in this web? Let's take the everyday example, importing goods. Every transaction, from electronics to groceries, carries a hidden tax, the exchange rate, the global dependence on dollars, the subtle power embedded in every price tag.
Millions of decisions, billions of dollars, all flowing through an invisible current controlled from Washington. And yet, this isn't just about fear or control, it's also about stability. Without a central anchor, the global economy might collapse into chaos, currencies devaluing wildly, trade freezing. The dollar provides predictability, it creates trust, but it's a trust enforced by reliance, not law. Remove it, and the illusion shatters. Here's where the stakes rise. Emerging economies push for alternatives, yuan, digital currencies, regional agreements. Slowly, cracks appear, but dismantling the dollar's grip is not easy. Entire supply chains, debt structures, investments, all built around it. Changing that system is like trying to redirect a river with your hands. And so, the dollar continues its quiet reign, invisible yet unavoidable. It moves faster than armies, manipulates markets without a single speech, and silently dictates who wins and loses. You may never handle a trillion-dollar note, but every financial decision you make sits in its shadow. Every market movement, every inflation spike, every loan you take, somehow, somewhere, it's affected by this green note. The question is simple, yet terrifying. How long can this system last? And what happens if trust erodes, if the world begins to look for a new anchor, if alternatives rise? Will we see a peaceful transition, or chaos disguised as slow evolution? The dollar controls more than money. It controls expectations, behavior, and decisions across the globe. And until something fundamentally shifts, it will continue to rule quietly, invisibly, and almost perfectly. So the next time you see a green bill, or hear about the stock market, or read a news headline about foreign debt, remember, it's not just money. It's power, silent, hidden, unstoppable, and we're all playing in its shadow.